Andre, how's it going?
Hey man, I can't complain. We had some good games yesterday with the NCAA tournament over the weekend. The ladies playing over the past couple of days. Look, this was a great weekend for sports. We got baseball back. How about baseball? We got that right back in. We got some things to talk about today, man. But I hope your weekend was good. Mine was great, man.
Hey, I had a great weekend. Spring in full rush upon us here. Spring break in the rearview mirror. Final four looking up ahead. We're going to get into all that. Prime time TV viewing. Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, Juju. Women's basketball has been on fire. You could say that women's basketball has never been more in the limelight. Just walk us through a lot of these various storylines that make women's college basketball what it is this season.
Well, Paige Buchers, she was like, if I'm not mistaken, the number one recruit in her high school class. She was a problem. Many people compared her to Diana Taurasi, and she had injuries trip her up over the couple of years. The pandemic happened, and she been through a lot, man. But she came out this year when a couple of their players been injured over in Connecticut. She been carrying them on her back. And women's college game is filled with star power. Angel Reese. You got Juju Watkins, who is a freshman. Shout out to Juju Watkins, man. You are a beast. You remind me of Maya Moore. You remind me of Tamika Catchings. She is a problem, man. Great wing player. She will be around. You'll get your opportunity at a national championship. It was a great game against Connecticut. Paige Buchers was dominant. Juju was dominant, but in the end, the young number one seeded USC team, they couldn't beat Gino Auriemma and that UConn Husky team. So, Gino do this in March. He ain't new to this. 11 national championships in Stores, Connecticut by Mr. Gino Auriemma. So, listen, they're in the Final Four, and then you got Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. Good versus evil. This is what they labeled it. You know what I mean? What they labeled that for the UCLA game when they played them. Well, we'll talk about the LA Times report. What a dirt bag. But Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark played each other in the national chip last year. Don't forget when she pointed at the ring finger. Angel Reese, they rub it in their face. I love Angel Reese. I don't know why everybody come for her. She livens the women's sport up. A little shit talking ain't nothing wrong with it. That's the essence of basketball. That's just natural. That's competitive nature. I'm not mad at that one bit. But Caitlin Clark is a dog. Excuse my language. I don't want to say it, but she's an animal. 9 3-pointers, 41 points. Why you think Ice Cube offered this lady a $5 million contract? Come play at the Big Three. She's the lady Steph Curry, man. She's a beast. She took out LSU, got the revenge. 41 points. Shout out to Angel Reese, though. She did her thing. LSU, if she decided to come back, she's getting the money. She one of the best marketed people on the internet, on social media. She know how to get to a bag. If she want to go to the WNBA, it'll be there. But she has the option to come back and run it back. I like her to come back. The college game is better with Angel Reese in LSU. It just livens the game up. So, look, women's college sports on a whole, it has generated a lot of viewership because there's a lot of star powers. There's a lot of personalities, and people are gravitating to this. Whether you love Angel Reese or hate her, you're going to tap in. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah, and the competitive energy that comes out of these games, you can obviously, proverbially cut it with a knife, right? And
Yes.
and like you said, the Angel Reese's of the world, you want that proverbial stir that spins that drink up, and that's what she is. And I'm hoping, like you're saying, that she stays in college, picks up the NIL bag when she's ready. She's ever be able to go to the WNBA. But these narratives are frankly making women's college basketball, I think, a more intriguing storyline than anything that we get right now from the WNBA. How do you feel about that?
I love it. I mean, the college sport, the college game, period. the whole experience is better than professional sports because everybody is trying to win. They trying to win that one thing where these guys, yeah, everybody getting paid nowadays, but nobody in college take a night off unless you was Ben Simmons at LSU. But nobody takes a night off on college, on them campuses, the rivalries, all the chatter amongst the campus, people ready to see you go take these guys out. Imagine what the LSU campus was like this week. Imagine what Iowa campus was like. That makes it that much more special. College sports is great, man. And I'm a big fan of football, basketball, women's. I'm starting to get back into the women's game. And of course the NCAA tournament. Come on. I used to ask my mom, I'm sick. Let me have off these 2 days. I'm talking about I was doing this in 4th, 5th grade. I caught the NCAA tournament around then, bro. Come on, man.
Hey, it's called March Madness for a reason, right? And
Yes.
and like you said, walk me through what was the fact pattern and story. How did that unfold with this LA Times situation?
Well, it was an asshole that decided to put out a report. You know, basically he wanted to just kill the coach for LSU, Mulkey. What's her name? Kim Mulkey. So he wrote a report. Obviously, it's LA Times. LSU played UCLA in the Sweet 16 and took them out. So, you know, it's similar to when Notre Dame faced the University of Miami in the college football national championship in the 80s with Michael Irvin, Jerome Brown on that Miami team with Jim Johnson going up against Lou Holtz and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And they called it good versus evil on Sports Illustrated. Same thing with the LA Times. It's a biased report. They're speaking on behalf of UCLA. I don't want to say on behalf, but obviously you could tell the LA Times reporter was a UCLA fan. That's their region. That's in their own backyard. So it was a very nasty report. He referred as what did he refer the ladies to? It was very disrespectful. Debutants. What is it? What is dirty debutants? What the hell did that mean? So I don't even know what that means, but it was very offensive. And you know, a lot of people from the Shannon Sharps, Stephen A. Smith, everybody at Fox Sports, at ESPN, the internet, they called that LA Times reporter out. And he later backtracked because he felt the backlash of putting that report out. But that just goes to show you where people's mindsets are at. We still got some individuals that think, you know, old time thinking, you know what I mean? Which in some ways is cool, but when you trying to like marginalize and destroy and belittle women, nah, I'm not riding with that at all.
Yeah, no, and like you said, this is a major storyline, national storyline. You know, everyone's up in arms about it, and I think that it just goes to show you that, you know, that women's sports has basically just never been a more focal point of this pop culture zeitgeist for the sports world as a whole. So,
hey man, look at the treatment Angel Reese get from the media. You know, a lot of people don't like her brashness. She's confident. She talks shit. You know, that's what she get into. But yo, that's the essence of basketball. She's supposed to be confident. Her teammates feed off of her confidence. Nobody talks about her leadership skills. Floje Johnson spoke about her yesterday, took up for her, and you could tell it was genuine because those two had issues leading up to the season where family members was going on Instagram and Twitter, throwing shots at one another. These, mind you, they fresh off a national championship. I think some of that went to some people's heads, and they still made it to the Elite Eight. So if they more so return most of that team back, and if they bring Angel Reese, if she decides to come back, which I hope she do, because, man, the college game made, you know, especially the women's game, it brought light to the women's basketball. So I hope she do return, but she always be under scrutiny, and they always trying to call her like just crazy names and shit like that. So, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't like women that are very, very confident, especially in their field of work or whatever, and it comes off as arrogance. I wouldn't call it arrogance, you know. And if it is, she has the right to. She hoop better than mostly everybody that put a ball in their hands. So Why can't she be confident? You ain't say that when Michael Jordan was sticking his tongue out, dunking on people. You ain't say that. Come on. Anybody that go against the grain of what tradition is, just like they did Allen Iverson for having the tattoos, the braids. Look how iconic he was, man. He literally was. He changed the culture of the NBA. And a lot of people be scared of that, man. They fearful of that, man.
I mean, case in point, look at Deion Sanders last year in his inaugural with the Bucks, right?
Look, did they not laugh when Deion started losing? Everybody was like, damn, they were happy Deion Sanders was losing. Because they're like, who the hell are you to be having Offset, having Lil Wayne? You got Cameron and Mace coming to the game. Who the hell you think you are, Deion Sanders? They don't like that shit. And what I tell you about Deion, did I not tell you they gonna lobby to get Shador in Dallas? Did we not talk about that? Come on, man. They already talking that shit. They drumming it up. They don't like Deion, man. They hate people that control their own narrative. They don't like it.
All right, so on that note, we're going to shift topics. We're going to come back to the NCAA tournament for a second, but we're going to talk about somebody who has always marched to the beat of his own drum on the Up in Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Stack. Rajon Rondo came out, confirmed the fact that he is now officially retired from the NBA. One of my all-time favorite players. I know one of yours as well. Floor general, old school. Is this guy on your Hall of Fame ballot?
Oh, absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer. He has a championship under his belt. I mean, this guy was an assist leader for many years. He's in the Hall of Fame. Come on. Yao Ming is in the Hall of Fame. I get it. He globalized basketball out there in China. He brought more money in for the NBA. Great player, though, when he was healthy, but he had bad feet. But he in the Hall of Fame. I want Rajon Rondo in the Hall of Fame. I watched Rondo my whole life. I remember when he was at Oak Hill Academy High School with Josh Smith throwing lobs. The Josh Smith, man. Shout out to Josh Smith. Rajon Rondo went to Kentucky, played with under Tubby Smith for a couple of years. He was always, in my opinion, one of the best floor general point guards in the NBA. Hell, he got a chip. He's decorated. He should. He's been an all-star. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for sure, man. And the floor general point guard is a dying art. Once Chris Paul he decided to retire, the floor general point guard will be obsolete. I can guarantee you that. You will never see a point guard that value getting the rock to the other players and they're settling for not like 10, 11 points per game. You won't see that no more. That's over with. But shout out to Rajon Rondo being a key contributor on the Boston Celtics and forcing the Boston Celtics to choose him over Ray Allen. And the beef that they had before that probably still lingers to this day, man. And Chris Paul and Rondo, they got their story history. One of the best NBA fights I've ever seen when Houston played the Lakers. That was some good. I know I'm a little toxic, but I grew up off the NBA bad bloods, man. I love it. I love when people get riled up. So, but Rondo, one of the illest, one of the best floor generals, in my opinion, he's a Hall of Famer, man.
Absolutely. I mean, all of the stories about this guy are legendary. You know, the Connect Four competitions, him throwing the water ball at Doc Rivers in the video.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Damn.
Right. him lining up in other people's defensive huddles during the game. I mean, Rajon Rondo was never trying to do anything other than win that game for his team. He was trying to make no friends on the other squad, right? And sometimes he wasn't even afraid to ruffle some feathers with his own head coach, you know, and you gotta give this guy a lot of props for always being willing to basically just stand for what he believes in every phase of his career, you know, and watching him get that last title with LeBron for me was great. I mean, obviously I'm a Celtics fan, but I don't think that Lakers squad gets that chip without Rondo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say the Boston Celtics don't win that NBA title in 2008 without Rajon Rondo. If they had to go in there with just Eddie House and whoever else was the backup guards at that time, God forbid, Thank God Rondo didn't get hurt, but if he did get injured, they would have not won that NBA title without Rajon Rondo. He was a defensive stopper. He played defense, and he got everybody their shots in their spots. Ask Paul Pierce, ask Kevin Garnett, ask Ray Allen. To be honest, they needed Rajon Rondo to get them in their spots, and he did that. And he provided leadership even at that young age. He was vocal in those huddles. So I love Rajon Rondo, man. And yo, you deserve all the blessings, man, and all your flowers. You are one of the illest point guards of my era. And I'm happy that you on your retirement phase, and hopefully we get a podcast out of Rondo and hear what he's talking about, man.
No doubt, no doubt. I think that'd be great. He's an extremely entertaining person, to listen to, just chop things up. I mean, okay, so next phase of the program, we're going to talk about a young player this time. Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, this guy is doing things that people just have not seen be done. There's been tall people in the NBA throughout history, but nobody this tall that has this guy's skill set. So people have talked about him being the best young center since Joel Embiid, since Shaq. How you feel about this?
I will put him in that conversation. See, Shaquille O'Neal, I'll go as far as David Robinson. We're going to talk about all the centers that were drafted that were, considered the cornerstones of the franchise. Like they were going to lead their teams to championships. You could go as far as back as David Stern with the cold envelope for the New York Knicks, getting Patrick Ewing in New York. New York basketball, after removing themselves from the Bernard King era, they needed a new hero in New York, and that cold envelope was selected. Patrick Ewing, all-time great. He was at that time, he was looked at as a Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain type of center. Same thing with David Robinson out of Navy. They looked at him as one of the next great centers. Then you got Shaquille O'Neal. He was looked at as one of the next great centers, along with Alonzo Mournings. And I could go on and on, but even up to date, Joel Embiid, in my opinion, skill-wise, the best center prospect to come out since Shaq. Because Dwight Howard, he wasn't a skillful center. He was an all-defensive type center that could get the putback dunks. He developed a little baby hook shot, but he wasn't no offensive dynamo that could just, you could put the ball in his hands, go get me a bucket. He wasn't that. But Joel was that. Victor Wembanyama is that, man. I'm talking about a 7'4" center that you could give him the ball. He could score anywhere on the floor, whether it's mid-range, step-back threes. He could isolate you, beat you off the dribble. He got long arms. Like, he don't even got to jump the dunk. So, yes, he's a generational talent. And like I said before, he is the second coming of Ralph Sampson before the injuries. Ralph Sampson was on his way to being a God-level center. He was going to be one of them centers that I just talked about. But injuries messed him up in his career, like about his fourth or fifth year with the Rockets. And he didn't overcome the injuries. But Victor Wembanyama is going to be what Ralph Sampson was supposed to be, but a more updated version. Because these guys now got ball handling skills. They can put the ball on the floor. They can make things happen on their own, and they don't need a pick and roll to get it done. So Victor Wembanyama is a beast. And listen, the next 10, 15 years, we're talking about somebody that could potentially bring the Spurs multiple championships the same way Duncan did.
Yeah, and, well said. And I've never seen a player cause so many NBA-level basketball, hoopers, causing them to make U-turns on the court. People get near the cup and they turn right back around because they know that Wembanyama is going to send that thing into the front row, right?
And not getting in the paint. He is a shot blocker. He's a shot alterer. He is the anchor of that defense, and he's going to be the anchor for a long time. So just imagine if they put talent around him. Like, San Antonio is not a free agent destination, but if you put talent around him, you select well in the draft the same way R.C. Buford and Greg Popovich did for all those Spurs teams that was winning championships drafting Tony Parker late in the first round, drafting Amanu Ginobili, finding the Ime Udokas and guys like that, having a Steven Jackson on your team. If you can round your team off the same way with smart draft picks and smart free agent signings to help build and help Victor Wembanyama become what everybody projected him to be, listen, that's going to be a scary team for a long time. That Greg Pop ain't got but so many years, but having Wemby there and you get a great coach, it's not going to be hard to find. Trust me, San Antonio going to be in the mix for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think, if they are able to get a point guard to play with Victor down there, like a Garland, somebody like that who might be gettable for a Spurs squad, I could see them, having a whole new renaissance, basically. So, I mean, I think that's an interesting one. And, you shed light on an interesting point, though, is in that this evening marks the night where Joel Embiid comes back for the Sixers. So, how does this, reshuffle some things for the basketball heads in Philly? And obviously we're right on the doorstep of the playoffs for the NBA. So how you feeling with Embiid coming back and playoffs right ahead?
I would say, look, I just hope that Joel is healthy first and foremost. Now we gotta go through the phase of getting him back in game shape. Gotta get his win back. He hasn't played in about 2 months, 3 months now. I say 2 to 3 months. He hasn't played. So, look, you got to get back in game shape. But Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid, 35 points per game. If he could give me 80% of what he was doing before the injury, the Sixers got a shot. Now, I hate that we're in the play-in spot, but you have a Joel Embiid in there, we'll be fine in the play-in. Now it's all about matchups. Am I scared of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who can't beat the Sixers even when Joel is out? If you look at our record this year against the Cavaliers, we own them. I'm not scared of them. New York Knicks, but Joel, I'm not scared of the Knicks. The Knicks got a great team. Jalen Brunson is my guy. Villanova, watched him since high school, winning his senior year, winning state championship after losing to Jahlil Okafor the year before. Like, I love Jalen Brunson. I watched his dad at Temple with Eddie Jones and Aaron McKee. I mean, look, I'm not scared of the Knicks. Boston, it's Boston. They're going to give anybody problems. So those are the head honchos, but I'm not scared of Milwaukee. Have you seen what they have done under Doc Rivers' watch? Yeah, I'm really not scared at all. Now, I get it. Doc Rivers needs time to implement his system, but last time I checked, they said, last week he was 13-14 since he took the Bucks job. Are you really scared of Milwaukee? They are beatable. So, yeah, I'm happy Joel is coming back. Got to do it the hard way. But I've seen the Houston Rockets, like I told you. They went in the 95 playoffs. They were the 6th seed. They took out who I thought was going to win the chip that year, the Phoenix Suns. Took them out. Matter of fact, that was 94 when they took them out. But 95, they were a 6th seed. And they went through everybody in the West. They beat, that was the year San Antonio was the number 1 seed, and David Robinson received the MVP award, and Hakeem obliterated him in that same game because he felt like he got slighted for MVP. I've seen teams go on runs and hoist that damn trophy, that Larry O'Brien. So the Sixers could get it done. Who knows, man? And then you put Embiid out there with all the trade assets that we got back. Yo, that's just going to open the floor back up. I like our chances. I mean, we're a tough out, I'll tell you that. And teams would not be clamoring to play us in the first round or the second round. I mean, we'll be a avoided team if we make the playoffs. I promise you that.
Absolutely. No, if I put myself in the shoes of any of these squads in the East, I don't want to see Embiid, Nick Nurse, Buddy Hield, some of these guys coming off that bus. Just no way.
I agree.
Okay, so we're going to move into the prediction phase of the program. Got to shout out my main man, Mr. West Philly Hippie, for correctly predicting, as usual, the prognostication of Alabama with the upset. So before we get into the Final Four picks, how are you feeling about these matchups? because you intimated that there is another upset coming our way.
So I definitely I love the North Carolina State team. I like their grit, their toughness. They don't have the McDonald All-American. They don't have a top 25 recruit on their team. They just got guys that's hard-nosed, show up for work, and they ready to go to work, man. I love what they've done going on an ACC tournament run, knocking out Duke and all of those teams in the ACC that they matched up with and going the long route, beating up on everybody that they faced in the NCAA tournament. And this is an 11 seed team. Can they bring back the magic of Derek Wittenberg and Lorenzo Charles in the 1983 national championship-led team, North Carolina State? Shout out to the coach. What was his name, man? What was his name? There you go. Man. Yeah. There it is. I forgot his name, man. But yo, him running up and down the court looking for somebody to hug on and stuff. Can that be North Carolina?
Jim Valvano.
Jim Valvano. There you go. Hey, just going crazy looking for somebody to hug after Derek Wittenberg shot missed, but Lorenzo Charles put that dunk in to win the game over the Houston Cougars. Will North Carolina State have the same magic? Purdue is a well-oiled machine. Zach Edey is dominant. He is as dominant in college basketball as I've seen since Shaquille O'Neal was the center at LSU, especially in his junior year right before he entered the draft. Like, he was a monster, animal. And I'm talking about putting up 29s and 20s, 29s and 15s. Like, this is what Zach Edey is doing. Zach Edey is a monster. He's hard to deal with, 7'4". And now that he slimmed down over the season, especially coming off a first-round loss last year, losing in embarrassment fashion, when they were a 1 seed and losing to a 16 seed, he was on a mission this year. He got his body right. This is a 7'4" man running on the break. He's out here. He wants this national championship bad. I see Purdue getting North Carolina State out the way. They're going to win. And I say they're going to win by about 10 plus points. That's going to be a blowout this week.
Okay. All right. So you're taking Purdue over NC State. And how you feeling about
Alabama and Connecticut now?
Yeah.
Connecticut is the defending champion. They have been rolling. There's another well-oiled machine. Dan Hurley, great coach. Remember when he played at Seton Hall? Like this he's a great coach, and he has definitely been brought stability back to the program since Kevin Ollie got fired. Even though Kevin Ollie won a chip a couple years previous before being fired, but Dan Hurley, man, he been holding it down, and those guys are they champions. They know what it takes to win. They have not gotten a game from anybody where they had to be concerned. Like every game, they've been punching people in the mouth. And they're going up against the Alabama team that have made some upsets. I predicted the North Carolina upset. I just didn't think R.J. Davis and Caleb Love would get that dream matchup that everybody was looking forward to. The battle over the Simps. I don't want to call them that, but you know, Caleb Love got up out of there. They messing with each other lately. It was real messy, but I miss the messy. I love it. But hey, man, you know, I just didn't think they were going to get the matchup. So Alabama took them out, and then Alabama is making their first Final Four, and God knows how long, if ever. And I don't think they have the personnel to deal with what Connecticut is throwing at them. They got big front line. They have a 6'11", 7-footer who's getting to the paint. He's rebounding, and they have one of the best NBA prospects in this upcoming draft on their team. I don't see Connecticut really getting any pushback from Alabama. So I'm going to tell you now, it's going to be Connecticut versus Purdue in the national championship game. And I'm going with Zach Edey and Purdue. I don't think that this will be like what Florida did with Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, and Al Horford. Those Florida teams went back-to-back national champions. I think Connecticut will suffer the same fate as who else did it? Arkansas did it. 94 won the chip over Duke. Then 95 they lost to UCLA in the national title game. I think they'll suffer the same fate. I got Connecticut losing to Purdue, the reigning national player of the year 2 times. National Player of the Year. Zach Edey, he will have the national championship this year, and he will be a top 15 NBA draft pick.
Boom. That's a hot take right there. Okay, so you're picking the Huskies, Dan Hurley, Seton Hall's finest, 1,000 points in college. Bobby Hurley is your brother.
Yeah.
And they're gonna drop one. They're gonna drop one. I mean, and speaking of the Huskies, you did point out Stephon Castles. This guy's got game.
Yes, he do. 6'6". Those type of point guards. I mean, you don't really find too many 6'6", 6'7" guys that can run the offense. Penny Hardaway was one of my favorite players growing up. I watched him at Memphis State. He was a marvel to watch. Youngsters, if you want to learn how to get your moves right, your handles right, watch some of Memphis State games with Anthony Hardaway. Hell, watch any of the games from 93 when they made it to the Elite Eight. Matter of fact, 92, they made the Elite Eight and lost. But throughout that tournament, he was a dog. And Anthony Hardaway, still to this day, is one of my favorite point guards. But those type of point guards, man, they especially when you that size, you got to be special. So I like Castle. He will be a lottery pick. This will be a weak NBA draft this year. It'll be similar to the 2005 NBA draft, which was weak. The 2002 NBA draft, which was weak. Excuse me, the 2002 and 2001 NBA drafts was weak. So this will be a weak draft, but I see Stephon Castle definitely being a top 5 draft pick in this draft. And for sure, top 10. But he could sneak up into the top 5 due to them being a 6'6", 6'7" point guard for sure.
Given that it's maybe not the strongest draft in years, who do you like is the number one favorite pick?
So they got this guy from France, I believe. I forgot his name, man. I see him all on the mock draft. I mean, you got Rob Dillingham. They got him going as high as number 2 out of Kentucky. Even Jeff Shepard, son, Reed Shepard. They got him going number 3, and both of those guys were off the bench. So, listen, man, this is going to be a weak draft, man. I don't know, man. This is a wide open draft where anybody could go number 1, man. But this is one of them drafts. Like, remember the Anthony Bennett draft where he went number 1, and Nerlens Noel was supposed to go number 1. He fell all the way down to 6 because he tore his ACL. But this is going to be one of those drafts this year for sure.
No, I get that sense of it as well. Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what plays out with this Final Four. Like you said, I think Zach Edey definitely cements his presence in that top 10 with a strong showing. And I like the upset call over UConn. That's a tough call because these guys have not met a speed bump yet in this tournament. And
No, they didn't.
So it'll be interesting to see what comes their way. So as always, Andre, thank you for tapping in. Thank you for the education. Thank you for all of the correct prognostications. And we'll do it again next week.
All right, man. We'll do it again next week.
All right, man. Talk to you.